put money in your pocket. That crypto wallet, that bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. 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 I'm always right.
What is going on? Good morning to everybody. Welcome to the Bleaves Crypto Show. My name is Bleaves. It's a glorious, maniacal, mega money Monday. And I guess we should start with the elephant in the room. And I don't mean to call him an elephant, but happy birthday to Ben BitBoy Crypto Armstrong. Folks, if you partake and you celebrate, today is your day. If you don't, then what are you doing with your life? Ben will be on, I think, in about an hour if you're interested in checking it out. A little different lately as he kind of rebuilds his empire, if you will. So happy birthday and a shout out to Benjamin Netanyahu Armstrong, and happy birthday. So today, we've got some really interesting things happening in the market right now. Before we get started, though, I'm going to ask you one big question. What is the largest profit that you made? And I want to know in the comments section. If you don't want to tell me the amount, you can just tell me how much of the crypto you earned. But what is the maximum amount of money that you made in cryptocurrency on one single coin or token? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to be interested to see exactly what that number is. And did you make it? So let's move on here and let's get started. We got a bunch of stuff that's going on right now, and we're going to lead off with one of the most important parts, which is Michael Saylor's strategy has added 390 more Bitcoin to their holding. And my long got liquidated or triggered with the take profit got triggered. For those of you that remember, I'd originally set it for about 119,700. And then I thought, why don't we just lock in the profit, and why don't we just see how we do after we've locked it in? So what I did was I went back and I set it for overnight 116,000, and it got triggered at 1:50 a.m. this morning. So we took our profit, which was about 100 and I want to say like 120 bucks. It was about a 32%. Remember, we put like 360 bucks into it. So now we're sitting on about $500, and we'll see how that goes from here. Don't forget, I'm also still locked into a full-on Margex trade where I got in at 118,000 with, I want to say, I think the number we did was about $5,000. I think we did like I think it's 14. I think we did $2,000 and we went 7x. So we're on it for about 14 grand, hoping for a breakout above 118,000 so that we can trigger that and take a little bit of profit off of it. So let's see how that plays out. We got, I had is it 17 million? I had 17 million XCL. I did good. And by the way, Accelerate dumping really hard right now. But if you got in and you got yourself a nice little run off of that, I want to say you got at least an 18 to 30x off of it. So yeah, if you did really good on that one, then shout out to you. I don't know, by the way, if Awesome Austin ever took his profit. I haven't talked to him about it since then. As you guys know, I made a nice big profit and I exited, and then I told you guys get back in. As a matter of fact, when you look at the chart, you'd be like, oh my God, like you called this one like a madman. I even gave you where the bounce was going to be. I even gave you where the up was going to be. It was, I mean, guys, listen, I like good projects. I understand good projects, but don't turn your nose at easy money. You don't owe a developer anything. Okay. You owe yourself and your family profit, what you are doing right now. And by the way, for XCL, in an example of XCL, this might be one of the greatest projects that's ever existed in crypto. But just like everything else, it has ups, it has downs, it has moments where it shines, it has moments where it dips. Play the market, make your money. You're not doing a favor by holding a floor. You're not doing a favor for the developer. You don't owe them anything, okay? You are competing PvP against every other investor, and you owe it to yourself and your family to take your profit when you make your profit. As a matter of fact, we got Amit in the house, a legend here. Amit, the question today is the biggest amount of money that you made on any single crypto. And if you don't want to put the amount of money that you made, because I mean, people, but if you don't want to do that, put the amount of crypto that you earned or profited off of in that context at that period of time. Also, Amit, guess what? BNB is running. So I don't know. Listen, for those of you that remember, guys, I think Amit put like $5,000 into BNB over the weekend. He was like, which one would you do? Which project would you do? And I said, well, go with BNB, because right now I feel like it's about to start ripping. And guess what? It did start ripping. Now the profit got eaten as the U.S. market walked on, as the U.S. market woke up and started doing what can only be described as USA institutional dog shit. Just an example of what they are. Jesus Christ. Look at this right here. We had a nice little run up to 1182. 1182. So if you'd put in 5,000 at that point right now, you'd only be up about $200 or something like that. It wouldn't be like a huge amount, but you would have bought, I mean, I guess like 5 BNB, something like that, and you'd be up 570, 350, almost 10%. Oh, he didn't buy the BNB, still holding. All right. So, but it did have a nice little rip over the weekend. From 1107, which is where we called it. We called it 1107, and it went all the way up to 1182. So easy money. Easy money. Also, it's going to go a lot higher, 1353. In my opinion, it's about ready to break out. Now, for those of you that follow some of these other ones, then you might notice that people like Dr. Profit, people like that have gone bearish. They're saying that the market is going to go absolutely, it's going to dump, that we are at the end of it. And by the way, when you look at it and you analyze what they're saying, you understand exactly what they're talking about, or you should at least understand what they're talking about, because they're witnessing right there a double top, a catastrophic dump, a double top, and then another dump. And what you're looking at right now, with a bearish divergence, what you're looking at is another top, which would probably register. If you're a gambling man, you're going to be like right there into that range. Well, I guess we should look at Bitcoin in order to do this, but you've got that nice big double top over here. And then you've got that breakdown into range right here at around 118,000. So you're going to have people who are going to say that, this is your zone right here. You're not going to break above that the rally is over. Okay. And that number right there is about 118,000. So what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of people looking at about 118,000 as a huge rejection zone. So the question right now would be, are we going to tick back up? And what you just saw on Bitcoin on the daily was a flip back above the 50 MA. Now, if this confirms over the next couple days, then that rally is probably back on. This would be indicative of a massive move. Now, again, zoom out just a little bit, and everybody's thesis is that most of us are saying that Bitcoin is about to go ever so much higher, and then you've got a couple of people out here who are saying that it's all over. And when you look at it from this context, where do you see that it's over? You know what I'm saying? Like at best, you could be looking at it as, and by the way, there are legitimate concerns, because you have this right here. You've got this Elliott wave that's played out completely. And what happens after your Elliott wave? Then you have the reversal, and you have that, you have the dip, and then you have the, you just go back down into whatever zone. Now, of course, I didn't do that exactly right, because 75,000 right there, probably where you dip down to. But the Elliott wave has been completed. So, you're going to get that move back down into this range, and then it's going to be back on. This, by the way, going to take this is going to take about 2 years. I want to say a year and a half for it all to play out. So, I'm drawing it on the screen, but we could be looking at a long crypto winter. Now, the Dow Jones up 300 points already on the day. Crypto was up, by the way. Crypto was up a pretty good amount just a few short hours ago. Boom, 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 boom. We were up to 3.89 trillion. We're down right now to 3.83 trillion, which means that $60 billion has flown out of the market since USA came online. Also, around 2-3 o'clock in the morning, Middle East selling off, dip hard, right? And then we had the European markets come online, kind of trended sideways for a little while. And then the next thing you know, we got the US market out here dumping on everybody. So what do we make of that? To be fair, I think the market is about to reverse again. I think we're going to see another upward momentum move. And then we're going to see a lot of people like your Dr. Profit cryptos change their mind about what they're going to do. And by the way, for those of you that don't, I'm going to give you, because I thought it was funny. I thought it was hilarious. So I made a meme about it. Global money supply is rising. Institutions are accumulating Bitcoin, so we must be in a bear market. I'm Dr. Profit Crypto, and this is Jackass. I mean, it just seems kind of silly for people to say it's over as we get into. And by the way, I do want to point out a couple of things. And sometimes you have the receipts. Now, again, this guy blocked me a while back, so I have no idea what he's talking about. But somebody, I think Ryo came in the other day, said that he said something about 117, 118,000, something like that, which, by the way, checks out. That's the number. But he was telling you that Bitcoin was going to 50,000, 45 to 50,000 6 months ago. And then I told him, you're a fucking idiot. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And he blocked me. And guess what? We didn't go there. We went to 75,000 and then we bounced up to a new all-time high. Okay. And he said, I am completely bearish. The market is over. It is all done. See you in 3 or 4 years, or, whatever the thing was, blah, 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 blah. And then guess what? It didn't do what he said it was going to do. It then reversed. And then everything went absolutely nanners. And here we are. Right. And he's pretending like he's been right since the beginning. Can't make that shit up. So anyway, I thought it was hilarious. And for some reason, shitting on people makes me laugh. So am I a bad person because of that? Probably. Anyway, so Michael Saylor adds 390 Bitcoin. Strategy now one of the biggest holders of Bitcoin in the world. Solana, Cardano, Litecoin, SWI, ETF delay, wipe out institutional interest, according to CoinShares. So institutional investors' interest in altcoins has almost been completely wiped out due to the delay in the SEC decision on multiple exchange-traded funds due to the prolonged government shutdown. The crypto fund flow revealed massive outflow from altcoins, including Solana, Cardano, Litecoin, and SWI. Flows in Solana and XRP have cooled in the run-up to the U.S. ETF launches. And the CoinShares report on October 27, this happens as the U.S. SEC missed final decisions on multiple ETFs because of the government shutdown. So for those of you that don't know, this was October 16, October 17, October 18. All of these days, there were supposed to be ETFs launching. And we have not seen any of that happening, which means that the U.S. government shutdown has basically crippled for the moment. It's basically crippled for the moment cryptocurrency and the ability of the Clarity Act, of the ETFs, of everything to start building into this ecosystem. So institution took their money and ran. Now, does that mean that the market is over, that the rally is over? No, my friends. As a matter of fact, it means it's going to go ever so much higher. Here's the problem with my thesis, though. However, let's be honest about it, and let's move off of the 1 hour and let's go to the 1 day, and then let's kind of zoom here. Now, we've seen that corrective move right there. We saw that dip down. Now we've broken out above this, so we're going to remove that. It did exactly what we said it was going to do. Now we got to figure out what is the next move. And for that, we're going to talk about U.S. money supply. It's not a coincidence, by the way. It is not a coincidence that this U.S. money, that this money or the world money supply, the M2, we got this crazy dip right here, which seems to be playing out like right here. Like it looks like, over the days that we got this big run up over here, right? And we got this big dip down here, right? And we got this big run up right here. Now we got another big dip coming. Now, why do we have that next big dip coming? Well, a couple months ago, it was planned that, by the way, that the ETFs were going to be launching. And what happens when the ETFs launch? We tend to see downward pressure. So what's going to happen here? It would be downward pressure into this spike. And then we're going to see a nice, big, and swift recovery taking us up to these all-time highs. But it's going to get better because guess what? Look at this. We're still where we are right now. Where we are right now in U.S. money flow, in all of this right now, we're about to go so much higher. That's what's really playing out right now. And then guess what? We're going to settle higher than we were before. So what we're talking about is a run for this is the Bitcoin run. Okay. This is the Bitcoin run right now. We've got this sort of movement here. It's breaking down. Now we're going to start surging. That next surge, 134,800 is the number I gave you, but 135,000 for Bitcoin over the next month or so looks like what's going to happen. It looks like that. I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying that, if you paint a dick on somebody who's passed out, they wake up with a dick on their cheek. You drew a dick. So this is up. So we're going to go up. Anybody who's telling you we're not going to go up is what the French call j'ai retard. So look for a big move. Look for a very big move coming very, 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 very soon. By the way, you can't predict any better than I literally gave you the entry position right here. I literally gave you the entry position right there. So now, by the way, I'm going to be annoyed as hell if it starts ripping up above 116,000 like crazy before I get an entry position again. None of these positions right now look to me to be a good entry. So I'm sitting on the money. You know what I mean? I make fun of stupid people all the time, especially a certain streamer on YouTube. Uh-oh. Better not be me. Better not be me. Bitcoin 150 end of year. Selmo, I think Selmo is probably pretty close to right. Now, 135 to me seems like that. By the way, the reason that I gave you 135 is because Bitcoin likes to move almost a certain percentage above when it breaks and it does a new all-time high and you get that little surge or something like that. And, to be fair, like when you look at it from this context, when we did this, it was like from right there and it's about a 10% number going back up. You know what I mean? That's what it looks like. Ryo says 70K soon. There you go, man. Everybody should be shorting this market. Everybody should be shorting this market. I'm just kidding. Jesus fucking Christ, like don't do that. But look for an entry position coming very, very soon. Like as this breaks down off of the 50. Don't forget, here's why none of that bearish stuff is gonna play out. Okay. We're in quantitative easing. Now, by the way, you know what? I keep saying that, and then I keep realizing we should talk about how wrong people are. And this is no hate. This is no hate at Discover Crypto, okay? It's no hate at Discover Crypto. But look what they've got pinned right there. News, the Fed just bought $34.8 billion in treasury bonds. Quantitative easing has begun. Smells like alt season. We're going to be turbo rich. We're going to be is not weird, but you know what I'm talking about. They just missed the apostrophe. But this was in May. So I just want you guys to see that it really doesn't matter if you're right or not. It really doesn't. Here's what matters. Will you lie to people enough that it sucks them into thinking that something is going to happen? That's really what it comes down to. So when you look at these people, when you look at the Dr. Profits, when you look at the Discover Cryptos, they're never right. They're never right. By the way, I'm as right as they are. So what I'm saying is I'm wrong too all the time. But the point is, these guys just put random BS out there in the hopes that you fall for it and you subscribe to the channel, right? I try. I'm just not good. I am uncomfortable lying to you guys, to be honest. Like I'm uncomfortable lying to you. And like when you talk, if you were to talk to Discover Crypto and you were to talk to one of these guys, they're not lying to you. They're showing you what it says, what the chart looks like it's going to do. You're just trying to read the final sentence in a paragraph. I mean, that's basically what you're doing. You're reading tea leaves and all that kind of stuff. So, but I mean, again, when you look at this kind of shit, then you're just like, what the fuck is going on? And as a matter of fact, let's call it friend of the channel. Zach Humphreys has been absolutely going crazy. Okay. Just going absolutely crazy on Zcash for the last bunch of days. Now, why? Because Zach Humphreys has been talking about Zcash all this time. Well, let's go back here and let's do at ZEC and let's see how long has Zach Humphreys been talking about Zcash. And we go down here and oh, really? Just for a couple days, huh? Just for a couple days, huh? Oh, so he's only ever made like 6 posts. Now, look at this. This motherfucker just acting like he is the king of Zcash, right? Just acting like, oh man, it's just great discovery here. I've been here since the beginning, bruh. Just absolutely. He wasn't here in September, guys. We just did this, right? He wasn't here in September. Where did that shit go? Wasn't here in September. First time he started talking about it was October 9. Where was the price on October 9? On October 9, the price was already up here over $200. Okay. Weren't you going to be out of crypto and on the sidelines by May? You're goddamn right I was. Dev, what are you doing? What is Dev doing? Come on, man. Get your shit together and make that life-changing announcement. Anyway, this is what I'm saying. Like, we just get into the grift, if you will. And Zach is trying to look like a genius. He's just like, oh, look at what I found for you guys. Huh? What about it, man? That's fucking awesome. I've been talking about this forever. You've been talking about it since October 9 when it was over $200. That's not even a 2x. So easy to dunk on some people. By the way, I gave you guys a bunch of predictions at the end of last year. Some of them came true. Some of them weren't even close. So I'm as guilty as everybody else. And I'm saying that, letting you know, like I'm the same way. Like when you look at a chart, you're reading tea leaves. You have no idea what's really going to happen. You just kind of like spitball and just hope, you're just hoping for the best. By the way, Dev in free fall right now, just dumping. Okay. Down to 37 cents at this point. And by the way, I when I was joking about it, I was telling people that it was going to happen because people are getting tired of just holding and not getting anything out of it. So now you're starting to see that breakdown. And what you normally saw, by the way, is a couple of what you get here is they've got market makers. To be fair, like to be honest with you, I think that some of the market makers dumped a lot in the last couple of days. That's probably because there's going to be a surge in the price. But if you start going back and you start looking, then you look right here and you see like, well, how much? This guy bought 63,000. He sold 42,000. He's down $21,000. But he bought 148,000. He's got 50,000. So this guy's got 50,000.1 left, and it's 21,000. Like, is he smart? Is he smart? I don't know the answer there. But then you got this one over here. Never bought any. Look at this. Bought 0. Sold 126,000. That's probably a bot. Same thing over here. Bought none. Sold 10,000. Again, I don't know. I don't know who these people are. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. Again, I think a lot of these are just bots that they have a market maker, and I think the market maker is just kind of shaking its way through. And then like when I look at it right here, is this something? Nope, dev. The only thing that it has in its wallet is dev and shit that people throw at it. So, who knows? Who knows what it actually is? But my point is that, dev's going to have to do something at some point, or price just going to keep going down. It's on test center. The public shard is on test center. So you can go test it. You can go do whatever you need to do. Nothing in October so far has been triggered. So, you know what I mean? Twiddle your thumbs until something happens. And we got another big sell right there. Didn't buy any, just sold. So again, I think those are market makers. I think we're going to see a surge in the dev price. By the way, I've been saying that for a long time. When you look at it from like the weekends and stuff like that, and you go back and you look at these little surges like this. By the way, that doesn't mean that it's going up. If you look at it from this standpoint, you're on a descending trend line. So what I think is going to happen is you're going to see this to this right there. You're going to see probably still in an uptrend, by the way, which is ridiculous. You're going to see this surge right up here. So you're going to see it go up about 10%, to where are we at right now? 37. So you're going to see it go up to like 42, 43 cents, something like that. Maybe even up to 56 cents. No, not going to do 40. It's not going to do that. It's going to do 44, 45 cents. You're going to see it like run to 45 cents or something like that in the next couple of hours, I think, in my opinion. So, but again, I mean, just, I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs, waiting for them to do anything. And really, it's the CASP license and the VASP license. The CASP license is the crypto authorized, blah, 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 blah. And then the VASP is like for NFTs and stuff like that. And they're waiting for those licenses in order for them to do anything and then make an announcement and blah, 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 blah. So we'll see what happens there. Again, I do think that immediately we'll see kind of a rip. If we get an announcement of any sort, we get an announcement of any big sort, then I think I'm not going to change my prediction overall. But, I do think this thing's going to surge to like $5, $10 almost immediately upon the announcement. And then we'll see, a little consolidation in range. We'll see a dip back down, a test to the top. By the way, the test to the top, just in case you guys are wondering where I think we're going to, let's just talk about it. So I think when we get a surge, we're going to come up, right to about there. Let's kind of zoom that just a little bit more and say that it's somewhere right in here. Okay, so I think the surge is going to be to about $5 because that makes a lot of sense right now. See it right there, $5. So we go to $5 in the initial surge. This is what I think is going to happen. We'll go to $5. Then we'll have a correction, which will come back down to the 618, which will be right here, which happens to be right there at the top. Poetry, right? And then we're going to have another retest of 386, bounce, and then boom. And then we're going to take back off to $10. Like, I think that's exactly how it's going to play out. There's symmetry to these things. So if I'm predicting where that next move is going to be, then $5 is going to be that next move. That's just in my opinion. I don't know. I'm a moron. You never know how these things are going to play out. I'm just, again, reading tea leaves, trying to figure out what happens next. So what happens next, by the way, and just to be fair, in whale chat, these guys literally telling me, we'll never see 50 cents again. You're wrong, bro. Okay. It sucks being right all the time, by the way, because I'm too goddamn smug for it. You know what I mean? Anyway, so no ETFs yet. So going to be a little dump on the price. Can Bitcoin price break 125K if President Trump announces a deal with China on October 30th? Now, the Bitcoin price has been recovering steadily amid renewed optimism surrounding the upcoming Trump-Xi meeting on October 30th. Historically, the Bitcoin price has reacted strongly to macro events tied to trade relations between the U.S. and China, often rallying when diplomatic sentiment improves. As both nations resume discussions on tariff, the market anticipates that easing trade tensions could boost global liquidity and risk appetite. So now the question is, Are we going to make a move? The neckline from the prior breakdown is 117,000. So a break above is going to reinstall investor confidence. The DMI indicator shows strong buy side dominance with a DI at 37, outperforming the DI at 9.8. Besides the ADX around 26.3 shows trend strength strong enough to carry advances without exhaustion signals. Higher lows since the 106 sweep confirms control shifting to demand, while wicks near 114 show eager absorption. And what does all of that BS mean? What it means is you had this wick that came down here into, this is that massive dump that we had, right? Then there was that retest. There was the retest, and then there was the lower low. Since then, it's been high, high, real high. So now we're in a trend reversal. The question at this point is, what's going to happen when you get into a certain range? Well, you got into a certain range right there, which is your accumulation zone, which is where people are apt to sell off when you get back into it. And what happened? We did that. The market then started selling off on it dramatically, and that wick got closed. Now, the question is, do we have enough buying power to step back in and sweep that entire range? Sweep that entire range. Those sellers are exhausted, and we go into the next range, which is going to be even more difficult. And that's going to be right there at that 118,000 range, which is going to be predictably right above, right there, just right in that zone right there, which is about 118,000 right now. So the question is going to be, are we going to be able to break above that zone? Because that's where sellers are going to step back in. And that's going to be the sellers who say shit in their brain like, it only looks like price is going to go down from here because I don't see it. You know what I mean? I like boobies and I like John Cena. Or whatever they say in their brain. It just sounds that way to me. So that's what I think is going to happen over the next little surge right there. Now, the market is going positive one more time. The U.S. market on Dow Jones up 250 points. So risk appetite is off right now. Okay. You can see that clearly in the market, but you can also see that they really want it to be positive. We're at 3.83 trillion in market cap right now. And at any moment, something big could start to play out. So right now is where you should be concerned about the Bears, the Chicago Bears, who lost yesterday. How do you lose to the Baltimore Ravens without Lamar Jackson? I'm going to get off topic here. Let me get back on topic. The Bears have an opportunity right now to get one more big dip in with Wintermute and all that kind of stuff. Like, there is a possibility. Now, in the event that that happens, then you would be looking at right there. So that trend line right there is still playing out. So, you know, you could see a dump in the price back down to 100,000. Now, if that happens, I am a buyer. Okay. Now, the reason that I say that is because we just made a few bucks off of that last Bitcoin long. Now I'm looking for an entry position. I don't like the fact that I would be shorting this market into this range. I don't think that we're high enough. Like, here's what I think. I think if I were to short right now with the idea that we're going down into this range, we would not go down into this range right now, that we would still go up into this 120,000. Okay. And then I would be underwater and I would be waiting for the market to dump it back down into this range. And I don't think that that's not an entry position. So I'm going to watch and see what happens over the next little while to see how that plays out. And wishful thinking. That is wishful thinking. Maybe we do go to 70,000 2 years from now, but it's not going to be right now. So if you're sitting on a Bitcoin long or short and your fingers crossed, kind of hoping for it, you better have like 2x leverage or 3x leverage, like a little bitch. You know what I mean? Because it is about to surge ever so much higher. All you have to do, by the way, look, this is actually so simple. Zoom out. Low, higher low, higher low, even with a desperate dump by one of the largest market makers in the world. Higher low. We didn't go down. So anybody who's changing the way that they're looking at it after looking at this structure, looking at this, and then saying, that's not going to happen again. There's something wrong with them because it's about to happen again. You know what I mean? How you feeling about XCL? I know it's down a lot, but heard some decent things about the project. Really, it's at this point, it's about accumulation. If you were looking to accumulate XCR or XCL, this would actually be a pretty good spot for you to buy some. It's down to a 4 million market cap. And by the way, going down right here, XVM Volt, by the way, for those of you that are paying attention to that one, I still hold a bag of it. It's up. Blocky is up a few percentage points. MK started to move a little bit, but wasn't sustained. By the way, Moon AI, which is Pablo's new project, right her. Son of a bitch. In case you guys didn't know, this is called being right again. For those of you that don't pay attention, for those of you that partake, Moon AI went up, 3x. So make sure that you got your initial out because your launch price was 0.005678 with 300 BNB. You got a nice little rip. Right now you're up 2x. Take your original investment, or hopefully you already took your original investment at 0.0015, and then you've got a nice big bag and you are feeling great. Also, I think this will go to a 5 or 10 million market cap. So I do think that there's a lot of opportunity right there for a nice big run. Moon AI. And by the way, for those of you that don't understand, Pablo probably holding on to a big bag of this and will take those profits, my estimation, will take those profits and move it back over to his baby. And what is his baby? Meme linked. Right now, $182,000 worth of liquidity in Moon AI that will probably migrate its way over to MK at some point. So, yeah. Now, as far as XCL goes, there we go, accelerate. So, what I think right now is, so what I gave you the launch, told you to take your profit, told you where to buy in again, told you where to take your profit. Now, by the way, it did wick up there a little bit more. So, you know, it's never going to be perfect, but I mean, look where, I mean, like, guys, I called it. You can't call this shit better, right? I mean, maybe you can, but not by much. Now what's happening, what I told you is going to happen, it's back down to the bottom. Now, when is it going to spike and what is it going to do when it spikes? Well, let me give you kind of an estimation here of what's going to happen next on XCL. Let's remove this, and we're going to say that's going to break at some point. What we're looking for is an actual... All right, so if we just kind of play this thing out, it looks... You know what? It's actually probably going to break out from here. All right, so the next move is probably just going to be a 2x. 2x to 0.008, maybe a penny. You know, might get, if it gets a little motivation behind it or something like that, and it goes to a penny. But remember, this thing already went to 3.5 cents. So there is still about an 8x in it, potentially. But I mean, look, guys, if you're not playing the game, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? So look, if you're going to get in, right now is the perfect time to get in. But that doesn't mean that it's going to rip. It doesn't mean that it's going to pump. It just means that structurally speaking, this is exactly what it looks like. Could be a little bit longer. We could see another dump down. I think if you zoom into it, you probably, in the event that you have another breakdown, in the event that it dumps a little bit more, like you could look at an accumulation at 0.003, maybe something like that. So you could see it draw down another 25%, and you would still be in line with your structure here. And then it would start to rip back up into this one right there. So that would be a 3x instead of a 2x. Just my opinion. So we'll see what happens there. But Bitcoin, what's going to happen there? Now, is CZ Binance returning to Binance? Probably not. Binance founder CZ is likely to focus on family office YZI Labs rather than returning to crypto exchange Binance, while reacting to an X post about a Kaizen report stating CZ plans to focus more energy on the investment business of YZI Labs rather than immediately returning to the exchange. He said, it sounds quite reasonable. Spotlighting more on transparency, CZ confirmed that he was last interviewed in September, not recently. He has not done any interviews with the media or persons since his pardon. The post also highlighted invitations from multiple governments to serve as an official advisor to the cryptocurrency industry. Maybe you jump into Lunk, CZ. Notably, he is a crypto advisor for multiple countries, including Kazakhstan, Pakistan, and Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan? What the fuck is that? Kyrgyzstan? I might say Kyrgyzstan. We're going to go with Kyrgyzstan, and we're just going to say that it's right, and I don't give a shit whether it is or not. And then Sadir Japarov is the president of Kyrgyzstan during the national stablecoin and CBD launch by the country on BNB chain. So he is an advisor. He is doing some stuff for them, but he's probably not going to go back to Binance. Although he can now do it because he's got a full presidential pardon. Also, Kobayashi, Argentina's stock market surges 25% at the open as investors react to President Milei's party winning their midterm election. And remember, Donald Trump is donating money and giving them and then buying beef from Argentina now instead of from Americans. It is unbelievable. See, guys, all you have to do is never talk bad about your government, because if you talk bad about your government, your city gets invaded. The farmers that work for you don't get their beef bought in the American market. You just give money to Argentina, and you know, this love affair, it's absolutely crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Now, God damn it. Anyway, AI growth is exploding. The U.S. now has 5,426 data centers, more than all other countries combined, and there are $40 billion worth of U.S. data centers under construction, up 400% since 2022. This will soon reshape the global economy. So remember, AI. And what is the biggest AI in crypto, by the way? BitTensor. And congratulations and shout out to me. And thank you, by the way. If you guys have not, go look at my content on BitTensor, guys. I'm serious. You should at least learn about what's going on in this ecosystem. And I think that boom, 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 right here. It's the one that says, I'm selling other coins to buy this. And that is the Autopia at autopia.com. I would really appreciate it if you guys would take the time after this to go check that one out. You're going to learn something. You're going to learn something important about the BitTensor network. So I think it's important. I think that it's important. And the reason that I say that it's important is because of this. Here's AI right here. Guys, BitTensor is the #1 AI crypto. What do you think is going to happen when we get some good news from NVIDIA for AI? People are going to be reminded, buy crypto, buy AI cryptos. What's going to happen when these data centers become bigger and bigger and bigger? I mean, you know, go down the list here. BitTensor is primed to be the biggest blockchain in all of AI. Okay. I'm fortunate to be partnered with these guys to make content for you. So I get a real sense here. And by the way, it's at 408 right now. Look at down the list here. I mean, just look down the list here. It's down 7%, but look at this, down 50%, down 70%. This one's up 80%. Story. But 65% down, 67% down, 62% down, 55% down, 68% down, 80% down, 52% down, 75% down, 51% down. Look at how much these things are down right now. And this is AI. What's going to happen when the script flips? I mean, it's going to go absolutely crazy. We're going to go absolutely out of our minds at some point very, very soon. And BitTensor is in the top 30 of all cryptos at this point. So, and I continue to accumulate them. So I'm shout out to me. You know what I mean? But I mean, look, I think this BitTensor to me is an easy 12x from where we are right now. And the reason that I give you that is a 50 billion market cap. I'm not saying it's going to go above 50 billion, but a nice 12x from here would be a nice little win. Now, the thing is, what if it gets crazy, right? What if AI and BitTensor just kind of take over? I mean, then what if it goes to $500 billion market cap, 500 billion market cap? It's already at 4 billion market cap and holding up very well at 4 billion market cap. What happens when the floodgates of AI open up? I don't know that you would get a better return on BitTensor, on the Tau token, than other ones, or Tau coin, than other ones. You know, I still feel good about Render. I still feel good about Filecoin, but Filecoin's kind of old. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure how much storage you're going to be looking at. What I would be looking at would be down here, like BAT token. Like BAT token goes to 5 billion market cap, then you get a better return on your investment than you would get if BitTensor goes to 50 billion market cap. You know what I'm saying? Like down here in the bottom, there's going to be a lot of different selections here that could go absolutely crazy and could mean, could just absolutely blow up along the way. You know what I mean? Like, just find yourself one of those small caps and, find one that you like. But in the meantime, I'm pretty sure that this thing is going to go to a $50 billion market cap. Again, maybe higher, maybe 100 billion market cap, which is a 25x from where it is right now. There's something that's going to happen there in AI that will make these things absolutely light up. And BitTensor is going to be at the forefront of it. I don't know if it stays as the top. I don't know if it stays up there. I just know that it looks really, really choice at this moment. Fetch is not looking so good. No, it's not. As a matter of fact, down 80% on the year. But to me, that's just an opportunity. It really is just an opportunity for you to accumulate right now. I would suspect that it's going back up to its all-time high. But again, that's only a 2x from where it is right now. So there's plenty of meat on the bone, or pick some kind of random something. You know what I mean? All right. Average progress right now is 53%. Bull market peak indicators, none of them are flashing. And you got people telling you, like Ryo, 70,000 Bitcoin and no bull market peak indicators are hit. And they're telling you 70,000 is next. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. All right. When no indicators are hit, when none of this stuff is hit, when none of these things are happening, and you're predicting these crazy crashes or something like that, it doesn't make any sense. Okay. We're not breaking a structure or anything like that. I mean, again, zoom out here. Like, in order to get to 70,000, I mean, to be fair, to be totally fair, you wouldn't be breaking your structure if you went to 70,000. Thanks to James Wynn and Dr. Profit. That's what I meant. Yeah. Thanks to those guys. There's no way. There's just no way. Not right now, anyway. Ultimately, here's what I predict that I'm going to do. And by the way, I'm not sure of this at all. Okay. Here's what I predict. What I predict is we're going to have a nice little run. We're going to get an altcoin season. We're going to get a big break. We're going to get a big blow off. And then the market's going to be cooked. It's going to be done. Cycle top right here, 175,000. I think we're still surging into that 175,000 range. I think that's going to happen. I think all these guys are wrong. Then I think we're going to crash down, but I don't think we're going to crash all the way down to here, because the drawdown on that would be, what is this? If we hit 173,000, the drawdown on that is going to be, actually, you know what? I'll take that. Actually, I will take that. I'm going to set a buy. My bid is going to be at 70,000 for Bitcoin, and I'm going to buy as much Bitcoin as I possibly can, every bit that I can reasonably afford. And I'm going to set a big buy order at around 70,000. Also, when we get to 170,000-ish, I'm also going to short the shit out of it. I'm not going to do it now, but I'll be shorting that top all the way down to that 70%. So, you do a nice little 5x on 100 grand or something like that, at 175,000 and then see that thing just break absolutely down in a crazy way back to 70,000. Then we're going to reaccumulate with that, 500,000, whatever we make off of shorting it, we're going to reverse and then we're going to put into it. And then we're just going to pump that thing back up and turn it into 1 million, 2 million, 20 million. Who the fuck knows? But there's a real good opportunity right there. So, and by the way, we may not even leverage that position. When we get to 70,000 again, that's going to be a pure spot buy, by the way. And then we're going to be looking at what is the ultimate, looking at 152% golden ratio, by the way. I'm going to be looking at that golden ratio. And if we assume that that's going to happen, then the next market cycle, boom, 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 right there to right there to right there. Then the next cycle, 233,000 Bitcoin. So if I can accumulate at 70,000, what I know is going to 233,000, or that I should have reason to believe is going to 233,000. It's an easy 3.5x. You know what I mean? What do you see for Ethereum? For those of you that wonder, I am not as bullish on Ethereum as some of you guys are. This right here, to me, is the best case scenario, that green box. I say that Ethereum is probably going to go to 6K, but there are other people who say somewhere between 7 and 8K. There's still other people who are saying 12K. There's just no way in my mind that Ethereum goes to 12K at this point. That would be a tripling of the market cap. And I don't see that kind of adoption happening right now. And I don't see that kind of positivity. Of course, anything could happen. It could absolutely flip and just go crazy. I just don't currently see it. So I'm going to say that 6,000 is going to be a very fortunate run for Ethereum. And the same thing, 7 or 8,000, fingers crossed if you're lucky. Again, this is one of those things where if you buy Ethereum at this current price, I think you're going to get a nice little return, but it's going to be a little return. I think Ethereum is missing this cycle. That's my opinion. I think that ETH is going to miss this cycle. ETH has an infinite supply. It doesn't matter if it has an infinite supply because it also has a burn protocol. There were 121 million Ethereum in circulation exactly 1 year ago. Today, there are 120.69 Ethereum. So it's actually been deflationary for the last year and will probably continue to become deflationary as time continues, to the point that we're down to 119 million at some point. And that's where you're going to get the value. Otherwise, again, it has the ability to print an infinite supply, but it also has burn protocols that are burning tokens or burning coins, and it's actually burning more than it's producing every day. And that is deflationary. What do you think about? I'm not a fan of Solana at this point. Solana market cap. I mean, just here's the problem with Solana. Solana is minting so many new cryptos. Here's the top of the market cap. Okay. Remember back here, this was November of 2021. Boom, 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 boom. Let's markets right here. Whoops. Market cap right there. All right. So we had this big surge in November of 2024. Yeah. November of 2024. We had this big surge to market cap. So November of 2024 for Solana. Right there, $265. Then we had another surge that took us to a tiny bit higher. And that was January 23rd. On January 23rd, $295. So great. That's awesome. We've got good things happening right there, right? Well, then you had it surge to a much higher market cap. And by the way, look at this. This went from 122 to 123, and that caused a surge of 265 to 295. However, then we had another surge over here just a month ago to 135 billion market cap, highest market cap for Solana on record. And what did it do? It only did 253. There's so much more Solana in the market right now that there is absolutely no way that this thing rips to the levels that, I mean, I gave you these levels not that long ago. But now we're minting so many new ones. By the way, this was my original This was my original spot right here at 1,200 bucks. We have minted so many so fast now that I'm telling you right now that the best we're going to get is going to be this $750 is the absolute best that I can see happening on Solana at this point. There's just so much more supply that we did not have before, and it's continuing to happen. So, you know, I don't have anything positive to say in that regard. So, you know what I mean? All right. So, again, there's nothing happening in Devi. They haven't even made a post in 6 days. So I have no idea what's going on over there. We're at the mid level right now, 51 on the fear and greed index. I probably shouldn't have taken my profit on that, but again, I felt like it was important for me to lock in the profit and take the money. Bitcoin ETF on Friday was up 90 million. On the Ethereum ETF, it was down another big down day, 93 million. What's the problem? Problem is altcoins, government shutdown. Oh shit. My bad. Super chat. What happened to Leash, the Doge killer? Well, let's do this. As a matter of fact, I have a question here. Let's do this one. What happened to Leash in the Shiba Inu ecosystem? Let's see what Grok has to say. Grok's going to look through everything and try to figure out, while that's happening, NVIDIA earnings date. NVIDIA earnings going to be June, July, August. So August, September, October. It looks like end of November, November 19. November 19, NVIDIA is when we're going to get the earnings for that. All right, so back to Grok here. Leash is one of the original tokens of the SHIB system. August 11, unexpected supply increase, the rebase exploit. Despite years of claims that Leash's supply was fixed and rebasing was disabled, the total supply suddenly rose by 10%. This was triggered by a hidden rebase bug that had gone undetected, allowing an exploit that minted new tokens. The incident raised alarms about centralization as it contradicted the token's renounced contract narrative and eroded trust in the ecosystem's decentralization. Community backlash was swift, with developers clarifying it wasn't malicious, but a long dormant flaw. Mid-August, Shiba Inu lead shared that the token's origins emphasized its role as a scarce asset, while the team issued urgent scam alerts tied to the incident. Fake migration sites and phishing attempts surged, preying on panicked holders. Then September, a major exploit on Siberium used a $1 million flash loan in Bone to hijack validator power, draining 4 million across tokens, including 680,000 in Leash, plus 224 Ethereum and 92.6 billion SHIB. The attack manipulated the bridge, freezing 4.6 million Bone in response. This compounded Leash's woes, as ecosystem tokens like SHIB, Bone, and Leash have already been underperforming. And then in October, the Shibarium bridge reopened after security overhauls provided a functional reset with rebuilt systems and EVM compatibility for developers. Leash V2 migration is in final stages, with a portal expected soon for a 1v1 swap from the V1. Holders don't need to act yet. Use official channels only. So there's what happened. It was hacked. It minted 10% more than it already had. They're moving to a V2, and that's why people are a little bit nervous about Leash right now. So I would certainly not be a buyer of Leash at this point. I would wait to see if there's not a much bigger dump about to happen. Muskrat King's in the house. What's going on, man? Is Tom Lee a turd burglar? Definitely. Definitely. All right, so let's close this out. Let's go around the horn here. So we don't have, I really don't have any kind of closing thing right here. Let's see kind of what did Blocky do? Blocky's still up on the day. Right wing is dipping. By the way, the amount of dip and the amount of rip on Blocky and right wing just told me that Roger probably moved from right wing to Blocky, something like that, to move Blocky. Blocky NFT collection is launching today. I think it's today. You go right here, and they are video, by the way. These are like video NFTs. And by the way, don't forget this. I think this is very important right here. Altcoin Daily did a blocky video. When we really get a crazy run, when we really get an altcoin season, that's going to matter. That's going to matter because, I get what I get, but those guys get up to 1 million people watching some of their videos. That's going to matter. Is Roger still a dev maxi? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, just like me, just like the rest of us, he's a little bit annoyed that it's taking so long. We understand, but also, it felt a little bit like I don't want to talk bad about dev because it's my, that's my big bag. But I mean, we thought back in November of last year that something big was about to happen. How many it's about to happens can you have? I mean, we literally ran up to almost $2, $1.81. Like it literally ran just out of control, just going crazy, 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 crazy. In that period of time, not because, and by the way, the market was showing altcoin season. People were starting to get excited. The FOMO was building and all that kind of shit. Definitely an announcement's coming very, very soon. Here we are almost a year later. And there's no announcement of this partnership that, again, I'm pretty sure that the partnership is NASDAQ, but nothing at this point. We're still waiting for licensing. We haven't seen, any of the cool stuff that we were hoping for at this point is not happening. Now, when I look at the chart, however, guess what? If I were to tell you that this is an active project that's being worked on in the background, blah, 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 blah. If I were to give you everything about crypto, and then you're looking for things that have big partnerships or something working, this is the chart to buy. I mean, this really is the chart to buy right now. Look at it. It's right down here towards the bottom of this range, right? And we might want to move that up just a little bit to like right there and say that, right in that 38 range feels good right there. This is the spot where you should be accumulating right now. Okay. So look, I'm not telling you that it's going to break out and it's going to go absolutely crazy. Okay. But this is the spot where you accumulate just in case. Like, what if it runs to 56 cents? Just imagine this from right here. What if it runs to 56 cents again, which it does over and over and over and over and over. I mean, that was happening. Okay. So now, what if it runs from now to that 50 cents? It's 50% profit, right? So accumulate yourself a little bit of dev, get yourself a little bag of it, and just hold on. You might get a nice little profit off of that. If that happens, take your original out. Now you got a tiny bag, 50%, whatever the run is. Now you've got a tiny bag and you've got your original investment back out. You can go buy something else. I mean, this is an accumulation zone, an accumulation opportunity. I wouldn't sleep on this. Again, in my estimation, this thing's going to run to $50 when that announcement is made. Maybe it won't happen that day, but it will happen. It will run to $50. Now, also, there's a real possibility that it runs up to $200. I mean, like, again, that's a 20 billion market cap. So, I just look, I'm telling you guys that there is something special about to happen here on this. So, fingers crossed. Oh, by the way, just so you guys understand, one of the big problems that you're experiencing right now, one of the reasons that you're like annoyed by it is because you're like, why are they not just doing it? Why are they not just running? Why are they not just doing it? Because the goddamn government shut down and they can't get a license when the government shut down. Might have been a couple days ago, but the government shut down. Thanks, Democrats. Thanks, Republicans. Now, by the way, this is a Republican shutdown. You can cry about it and you can say, no, it's not. Anyway, it's a Republican shutdown. It's a Republican shutdown because Republicans, because they're the good people. They're the ones. They're the ones. And then I would say to you, why can't they do it? Because there's nobody working in the government right now, except emergency services. Wanted to show you because there was a time right here where Donald Trump's being interviewed, and he says, "You know what? If there's a government shutdown, there you go." Well, you have to get everybody in a room. You have to be a leader. The president has to lead. There you go. So the problem we can all agree now is the president. I'm not using my words. I'm using Donald Trump's words. So it's not financial advice. I'm always right. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy Halloween, and we'll see you again.
They call me please, I'll do any shot you